Okay, I've got to speak on a couple of things. The the Black Lives Matter movement, the Marxist movement, which it really is, it's a joke. It is a joke, and I'm fed up of hearing this word or this phrase, Black Lives Matter, and it not meaning what it sounds like. It's such a good thing to hear Black Lives Matter. It's true. What life doesn't matter, but of course Black Lives Matter. It's such a almost innocuous type of phrase. It seems to mean black lives, black people matter. They are worth something, they have value. And in of itself, it's a completely honorable term, completely honorable statement. Nothing to be to have any negative feelings towards. But the movement themselves, they're a joke. They're an absolute joke. They don't give a flying monkey about black lives. There was this interview with Don Lemon, was a news anchor in America, and Terry Crews. A lot of people know from the old Spice adverts, and I think he was an American football player, and he was in Everybody Hates Chris, and probably a royal white chicks. Lots, everyone knows Terry Crews, and he was saying, look, Black Lives Matter are not concerned. Essentially, what he was saying was that they're not concerned with black on black violence. Their main aims were against injustices in the system, police brutality, which is to me an absolute joke. A lot of people don't. If you were to catch the layman in the street, they don't know that. They don't. At least they don't believe they know that. It sounds to me that they're very selective. That really what they mean is certain Black Lives Matter. If the black life, does the black life fit within our narrative, which is that the system is corrupt and police must be abolished? I think if you catch anybody just in their house, away from the cameras, away from the pressure of the social atmosphere that we find ourselves in now, I think most people would admit that abolishing the police has to be one of the worst ideas that has ever been conceived in a human brain. It's just stupid. It doesn't line up with any kind of reality of anybody. Anybody that's really, about having a peaceful existence, leaving themselves wide open to criminality. It's just ridiculous as an idea, as a concept. And I'm seriously, I'm fed up of it because black people, we have got to address this in of ourselves. Now, in America, I think they're 13% of the population, and they commit something like 13%, 50% of the murders, or 50% of murders, violent crime. That is a ridiculous, ridiculous um, number. You're talking what? That's four in proportion terms, four times the amount of people in the population versus what they're actually outputting. It's too much, way, way, way too much. And personally, anybody that has any argument to suggest that there isn't a problem in the community when you've got 13% of the population and then 50% of the output is that negative. What are we saying here? I think if you were to look at 50% of anything, if there was 13% black people as a population, as an ethnic makeup of the population, versus 50% of 50% of doctors, 50% of lawyers, you'd have a lot of, the perception would be completely different. How can we complain about being perceived as a criminal when we make up that significant proportion? Are you telling me that all of these people are just being unfairly treated by the police and just thrown into jail? Are you really telling me in your day-to-day life experience that A lot of the crime, a lot of the people that you are genuinely afraid of on a day-to-day basis, are they white? Are you really afraid of white people? Or are you really truly afraid of your own? The people I'm worried about, the people that concern me, I'm not worried about white people. I'm not worried about people in general, but if I'm going to be concerned about people, it's going to be the crime that I see being committed by my own. I say my own, my people that have my skin tone. Because I don't believe they're mine. They don't grow up with any of the morals that, they don't behave in any of the morals, with any of the morals that I believe in. So I don't want to ascribe myself just because they have the same pigmentation as me. I don't say they are my people. We're too quick to do that. Not everybody that says they're your friend is your friend. Not everybody that looks like you is like you. It's like when you talk to someone and they find out you're from a particular place, let's say Nigeria, and you say, oh, I know this guy. He's Nigerian. And then you go and meet that other Nigerian friend and they expect you to get on like a house on fire. Just because you're Nigerian. That's the only thing you have in common as far as anything else. That you could be completely different people, completely different backgrounds. It's not enough just to look black. It's just not enough. We've got to have something more about us than just being black. And this movement, man, is just fake. Like, it's just black people are killing themselves. One of the things that frustrate me now, I say in America, there's 13% of the population is black, 50% of the murders. Now, actually, if you break that down, it's a smaller number than that because there's only a certain percentage of people that are committing murder in America that are black, which are an age group probably between maybe 17 to 34 black males. So how many 17 to 34 years old black males are there in America? It's going to be a lot smaller than 13%, probably a lot more like 4%, maybe even less than that. So if you break that down in real terms, I mean, what are we saying here? Is that obviously not all of them are committing. It won't be about 50% for 4%, but a huge proportion of that would be, maybe we're talking about maybe, I don't know, for 40%. 40% of the murders committed by 4% of the population. That is insane. That is an insane rate. And that, I mean, that's where the stereotype comes from. It's barely even a stereotype at this point. It's just normal. It's almost taken as fact. And the only people that can stop that cycle is us. It's only us. Let's say I give you the fact that there is a white supremacy here and it's oppressing black people. Okay. So what's your aim? To ask these very racist, historically desperately racist people to change their ways. You're going to ask them to do that, or you're going to demand that they do that, really? When they make up a much larger population, they have a lot more clout than you can ever hope to have at this point. You're going to ask them to change, are you? And that's going to work because they're so racist, but yet they're so somehow at the same time benevolent. They're going to give you, do you not see the ridiculous logic there? You're asking someone who you're saying is fundamentally racist is going to change their minds and give you everything you want and give you the equality you want without having some kind of nefarious way of subjugating you in some other way. You don't think that's more likely? But let's say I give you that there is a white supremacist regime. Okay. They're not going to listen to you. So what's the next step? What are black people doing at higher rates than anyone else? Aborting their children and killing themselves. If there's a surefire way of you not giving yourself the chance to survive and to thrive and to grow as a population and to have influence, you know what you need to do? You need to kill yourselves. It's the perfect simulation for any racist. Foster an environment where black people just kill themselves and sit back and watch it like a simulation on SimCity. Perfect. All you got to do is sit back and watch. Blacks selling drugs to each other, music promoting gangster rap and violence, calling the women bitches, twerking, no respect for each other. You know, I've said this for a long time that sometimes I just feel like black people, we don't even like each other, really. We don't. We just feel like we want to attack each other, bring each other down. Crabs in a bucket, as it's been said. And in the UK, it's similar. We're 3% of the population in the UK. We make 13% of the homicides, according to the Office of National Statistics, if I can say that properly, the ONS. That is more or less the same rate as in America, if you extrapolate the numbers. That is insane. Why are we doing this? How is this happening? How is this happening? Is the system so racist that white people are just letting white murderers off? Is that what it is? Is that how you're going to justify it? Is it too much to ask that we don't commit murder? That we stay with our wives? That we raise our kids? Stop them from roaming the street randomly at 9 a.m. I say 9 a.m., 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. even. It's not too much to ask. Put them to bed. Read them a story. It's not too much. But yet we have this movement, Black Lives Matter, that doesn't seem to address any of that. You can't get at this white supremacy. You're begging people to change. When actually, let's say that was the worst thing. And it was an oppressive regime. Shouldn't you still try and make it better for yourself as you live today? So let's say yes, the regime existed. Okay. So stop killing yourselves and give yourself a chance to rise, a chance to mobilize, to organize. Instead of aborting babies even before they even have a chance, under the guise of controlling your body. You know how you can control your body? You can do it before you have sex. That's what control is. Control is not yielding yourself and giving yourself and then saying, yeah, okay, I need to press Control, Alt, and Delete. That's not control. Doing whatever you want and then eating whatever you want, lounging and then saying, okay, I want control over my body. Okay, liposuction, come on. That's not control. That's not how you exercise control. That is you just giving in and letting someone come and fix your problems. That's not control. That's not you having control, exercising real control over your body. That's weakness. And black people, we don't have any time to be weak. Doesn't mean we start fighting police. I don't know why I even need to say this, but it's so ridiculous, the idea that we think that we need special treatment in that regard. When police stop us, we don't think it's appropriate to actually stop. We think, okay, it's time for me to carry on driving. And how dare they chase me down? How dare they demand me to get out my vehicle after not stopping? I don't think it's too hard for us not to do that, man. We're not stupid. We're better than this. And, if Black lives really did matter, it wouldn't just be anything to do with, police brutality, which, as a wider issue, if you ask me, is like the smallest thing, the very tiniest thing that you could possibly ever reference as an issue in the black community. The real problem in the black community is fatherless homes, abortion, education. Those are the real issues. You keep the father in the home. You stop the nigger culture, the bitch culture, the drill rap, all that nonsense that comes with it, where boys are going on the street because they're looking for that father figure, someone to show them how to be, what they think is a man, what they think a man is. You stop all that. You give that boy direction, as the Bible says, like quivers in your bow. You set him off in the direction he needs to go. That's what they need. Kids need someone that they know is going to back them beyond just some guy on the street. A guy that will hug them when they want to cry. A guy that will hold their hand and say, look, man, it's cool. Listen, I'm your dad. But also dads that are not just like, I'm your friend. As a parent, you're not a friend. You're a parent. It's a nice bonus if you can be your child's friend. But ultimately, your duty is to guide. And if people approached parenthood that way, they wouldn't be so quick to have babies and to do things that could lead to babies. They'd be a lot more careful. But there are consequences, and all of this lies at the feet of people that make bad decisions and then justify those bad decisions and refuse to change. Our problem isn't that we need to abolish the police. In a neighborhood where, in a society or culture, I should say, where calling the police is seen as snitching. Never mind the fact that he killed your friend or killed your sibling. You can't be seen as a snitch. What type of stupid, ridiculous, evil behavior is that? It's not good, and it's not helpful to anybody. It has to stop. It has to stop. It's evil, and it's damaging your community, and it will destroy you. There's no need. There's no need to protect those that have no interest in keeping you alive. A lot of these people wouldn't even be bothered if they died tomorrow. So why are you out here protecting these people? They're criminals. Some know if they go to prison, you know what? It's cool. I'm not going to get a job anyway. We as black people, we can do better. We have to take personal responsibility. Don't let any organization tell you this is how you ought to behave. Don't let anyone just tell you. Find out the facts for yourself. This Marxist agenda by the Black Lives Matter they're talking about abolishing the family, the traditional family. Do you think that's what the black community needs? Do you really? Do you really? Is it really what we need? Or do we need stable homes? Homes where the dad and the mum are there. The mum is vitally important. Mostly the mum is always there. That's almost a given now. But the dad needs to be there. Don't disregard the father. Teach a child in the way that he should go, and he won't depart from it. But that can go in a negative as well. And we've got to find ourselves directing our children, the people that look to us, in the right direction. Men, you have to stand up. It's not enough to keep, posting this nonsense on Instagram or on Twitter. Knowing the truth. You don't get to post something on Twitter knowing that your friend yesterday did a madness. What are you doing it for then? You're lying. And you're creating an environment where people are just confirming their own biases, whilst you get the social gratification of getting a few likes. That for me is evil. And I'll say this as the last thing. Jesus, I think, was very, well-mannered and wasn't prone to bouts of anger. But when he spoke of children in the Bible, he was very, very unequivocal. You harm children, put a stone around your neck and throw yourself in the sea. That's quite unusual. It's not something you'd align with Jesus. You wouldn't really put that sort of phraseology with Jesus. However, it's to say, the kids, you don't mess with kids. You do the right thing. You allow them to see you growing up doing the correct thing. And then they can bring that and build a better society. Bring that into who they are as people. You teach them evil things, you teach them bad things. You're better off in the sea. Whether, as a figure of speech. It's not acceptable. And I'm just fed up fed up of Black Lives Matter. They have to be, to me, a very evil organization because they have no interest in really what matters and what would have an immediate impact in the community right now. If they were to say, I'm going to deal with this black on black violence. Don't gloss over the issue. Don't make it about police brutality because especially in the UK, that is a non-issue at all. When I see people, almost baying for blood and frothing at the mouth, absolute joke. You're a liar. You're lying. I don't know where that anger comes from. That anger comes from your dad not being there or some other issue. Don't put this on the policeman that's just doing his job. He's attending this scene because your friend has stabbed somebody. Your friend has sped off in a blacked out, tinted out Corsa. That's why he's there. He's not there because he just thought, oh, you know what, I just feel like some black blood today. That doesn't happen in the UK. America, I need to do more research, but again, I see very little to support that in America also. We live in a society where people are propped up for overstating issues of race in a supposedly racist country. Nonsense, and it just has to stop. We're fed up. Can't stand Black Lives Matter. It's an acceptable phrase. Black lives do matter, of course they do, but the movement is garbage.